Hi, welcome back to my channel.
This video is about highlighting the after effects of decentering men. So have you guys decentered men? Get in the comments and let me know down below. And I hope you enjoy this series of videos, but this is going to be pretty intriguing, so keep watching. But first, hi, I'm Allicia, i.e. Allicia J, the walking talking baby doll, and hopefully I'm here to give you a good day or a better day. Okay, so today I'm going to showcase how women's lives have changed after decentering men and show how it can be a benefit to your life, increase focus, increase health, just give you a glow, girl, just give you everything. And I want this to be like a community down in the comments about how life is different after decentering men. Also, you can go to my other page and find other interesting topics and commentary similar to this one. I would appreciate it if you go and give it a look. Let's get into the video.
So how are you? What's new? Not too much, just been really busy. Yeah, are you dating anyone new? No, actually I'm not. Not dating anyone right now? No, not really. You're not even talking to anyone? What about your ex? Have you heard from him at all? No, actually I blocked him. Wow. Yeah, it's actually been really nice. I feel like my life is so peaceful. That's cool. That's good. It's been really nice. What about you? What's new with you? What have you been working on? What's going on in your life? Not too much, really. What about you? What's new with you? Well, I've been working on launching this new online store, so I'm really excited about that. I started an online book club. I'm coming up with a workout plan. Like, I did this workout plan for myself, and I'm really excited because I feel like if it's effective, I'm gonna like share it online with everyone so everyone can kind of like use it. I also spent the other day, like the entire day, like a full 8-hour workday, completely mapping out my life plan for the entire year, and it's got me really excited. Huh, that's really cool. I love that. Yeah, so, are you dating anyone right now? Oh my god. Okay, so I'm talking to these like 5 guys, and 4 of them are really stressing me out. And I was just like, and then my ex is coming back, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then there's this one guy that lives in another state that, I don't know, he's like really rude to me, but I don't know why I keep talking to him for some reason.
I remember watching a video of this woman talking about how good it feels to not have a crush, and just like how liberating it is because you have all your time and you have your mind, you're sane. And this is the first time in my life where for an extended period of time, I don't have a crush. I have not engaged with a man in any real way. I don't have any thoughts about any particular man, like at all. And now I'm reflecting on my early 20s. I'm reflecting on my teenage years. I'm reflecting on all the time that I wasted having crushes on men and boys that were nothing. It led to nothing. It went nowhere, and all it did was just cause me anxiety. And as I mature and I get older and I just think about the socialization of women and girls, I'm just like, my god, like so many women won't know what it feels like to have themselves and to be with themselves for a long time, because any moment that they have where there's no man, they will find one to put there. And that is a very fascinating and interesting realization to have, because it took me a while to get here because I was socialized to be a woman. And so I had to break out of my conditioning and then realize that I wanted to live a life that was so full of my interests and my perspectives and my hobbies and my yearnings. And now that I am living in accordance with that, I'm like, I would never have gotten to this point had I been distracted or, followed the whims of a man. And I want this for everyone. Like, I want every woman to feel this way at some point in their lives, because there's so much information that is learned and accessed when you spend long stretches of time with yourself.
I decentered men for 8 months, so you didn't have to, and this is what happened. I was always the one to always be in a situationship, dating someone new, having a new boyfriend, or just always in a long-term relationship. So I just thought, I'm kind of sick of this. I have had the best year. I kid you not. I have done a lot of things self-help wise that I wanted to do. For example, I feel like I used to be a little insecure, and now I feel like I'm more confident. I can speak up more. I'm not as shy as I used to be, and my world does not revolve around a text back. Back in the day, I used to have a no call, no show policy. I still have that policy, but I feel like it's only when I know that some shenanigans is going on and I just know I shouldn't be a part of it. Also, stop doing things for the male gaze. I used to be a little bit of a hoochie. Not completely. I wasn't like thoughty, but I did show a lot of skin. So now I feel like I'm a little more modest in my approach and how I dress. Like today, I love this outfit. Like, and I'm fully covered. The only thing you can get out of me is a shoulder raise. Like, be for real. But I feel like it's just helped me kind of grow as a woman to decenter men. I'm not completely off dating, but I just feel like when I do start dating seriously, my intentions are very clear and I won't stay around longer than I need to. So I feel like this decentering men journey is very helpful.
What they don't tell you about when you start decentering men in your life is that you'll stop being able to relate to so many people and so many different types of conversation. When I was constantly dating and constantly having crushes, I was able to relate to so many of my friends. I was able to relate to this larger cultural zeitgeist of like single woman culture. Now that I've stopped dating and I've stopped centering men in my life, I really have very, very few, almost no people to relate to, because people aren't posting about decentering men as much as they are about being single and wanting to date. So it makes the process of decentering men and decentering pursuing dating a little bit more lonely and isolated. And it's just interesting.
So I'm happy to see that this type of movement encourages women to focus on their goals, hone in on the things that they really want and need for themselves, put themselves in the center of their lives and their stories instead of wasting time with crushes, and also become a little bit more assertive and gain more space into the life that they really want to put effort into. And I just think that that's a beautiful thing, and that's why we're here having this little conversation, and I love these conversations.
So I'm on my period and I am craving comfort food. So I got acai bowls from the Shaka Club in Montreal, and like, look how good it looks. I'm gonna do a taste test because I want to go to the gym before I eat them, but there's one of them that is for hormones specifically, and they add like a protein inside, and then there's another one for glow, which I love. Like, I love when there's like food concoctions for health. Oh, and just as a side note, I realized that the more that I decentered men in my life, the more that I started loving my body as a woman, and the more that I started loving myself as a woman. Because all of the masculines that I had in my life were wounded masculines that were like really fed into misogyny and into patriarchal energy, I realized more and more that there was this hatred that came for being a woman. There was like this hatred that came for having the body of a woman. So whenever I would be on my period, instead of giving into my cravings and taking care of my body through the cravings, I would just continuously push myself. Like, especially as a high performance person in sports and then in business in the past. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna fucking drop it if I do something, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna flip this. Dragon fruit, acai, coconut, goji berries, a little bit of granola, chia seeds. There's a bunch of things in there as well. Absolutely insane. But yeah, I realized, like, especially like I said, on my period, instead of honoring the fact that I am a woman currently on my period, and all I seek and all I want is to rest and to be and to exist and to give into those cravings and to just take care of my body, there was this patriarchal, misogynistic way of approaching my period where I still needed to perform because I was raised in a very misogynistic way, in a very woman-hating way. Especially being around John that only objectified my body. Whenever I would be on my period, I would feel bad about the fact that I would gain a little bit of weight, that I would be bloated, that I would look a different way, because I needed as a woman to always look good for the man. But by decentering men and by leaving those relationships behind, I'm realizing how beautiful the woman body is truly. And this is where like this amazing level of self-empowerment and self-love came in, because through all of the phases of being a woman, I find beauty in it, because there's not a man that is out there telling me, oh, you shouldn't be talking about your period, oh, you shouldn't be saying this, oh, blood, oh, this, all that, or making me feel bad for the fact that I'm bloated on my period, or for the fact that I'm craving sweets on my period and I know that it's going to create like maybe a little bit of bloating because of it, or the fact that I don't want to push as much as at the gym because I'm on my period, and making me feel bad for the fact that I don't want to push my body to the extreme when I'm on my period. My nose is dripping. The recovery is going well though, but the dripping nose and the fact that I can't blow my nose is a thing. The thing is that those men are never going to tell you straight up, oh, like, I don't like the fact that you're not doing those things. They're never going to tell you. They're never going to tell you, but they're going to make you feel it. They're going to make you feel it. And as a woman, I feel like we realize it, like they make us feel it subconsciously. There's the pressure as women to always be perfect, to cater to the man, but by decentering them, we don't give a fuck anymore. I'm going to look the way that I look. Fuck, I can shave my head if I want to, it doesn't matter. Oh my God, look at this. This is the glow one. I think I just found my new favorite breakfast place. It's literally walking distance from me. And again, that's another thing. It's like I'm just allowing my body to exist and to be, instead of forcing myself to always look attractive to men. I'm attractive because I'm a woman. I am beautiful because I am a woman. Not because of what I look, how I dress, what I do with my hair, how I speak or don't speak, or whether I give in to the pressure of looking a specific way as a woman or not. And I feel like this is how my body continues to look good as well through all of the processes, because I give it love. This is not about giving up on your physique and on your looks. And this is what the misconception is that if you don't work as hard at the gym, if you don't pressure yourself to eat certain things or to look a certain way, your body is just going to disintegrate. But that's the opposite. The more that you let your body speak to you and you speak the language of your body, the more you're going to inch towards wanting to take care of your body. Instead of eating chips, you're going to want to eat something healthier, because you're not going to want to put chips inside of your body because you love your body. It's like, it's the misconception that like the whole self-sabotaging that occurs, like when it comes to food or when it comes to our bodies, occurs because we try to be perfect and then our body is exhausted, so we give up and then we self-sabotage. And the pattern is created in our mind that because it's because of the food, it's because we give up that our body looks that way, but it's not because of that. It's because we create a need and a pattern of perfection through self-hatred instead of self-love. We eat healthy because we want to look good for men, because we want to get married. Instead of eating healthy simply because look how fucking bomb that is. And because you're on your period and you need to feed your body the right foods and you want to be able to have all the nutrients in your body. But yeah, the second that I started loving my body more and loving myself more through all of the phases, and again, decentering men completely, not being scared to talk again, not being scared to talk about my period, not being scared to talk about the fact that I want to rest and I don't want to do anything and that I want a man to provide for me. Decentering those misogynistic men, decentering those men and decentering their eyes from me. It's like, I feel like right now I want to cater to only one specific collective, and it's just women, divine feminines, and that's it. To be able to love on one another, to be able to cherish one another, to be able to see that as women, we are beautiful through everything, through all of the phases, and that we can have a safe space to just talk without having a fucking man that is there and being like, oh, don't talk about the blood, don't talk about the period, don't talk about anything that a woman does or doesn't do. A woman should cater to the men, etc., etc. No, the opposite.
My entire childhood, my mother, from personal experience, would constantly tell me, don't ever, ever, ever put your life on pause for a man. Like, don't move anywhere for him, don't stay somewhere for him, always put yourself first, right? Guess what I did? The opposite, of course. Whoever listens to their mother. I dated my ex-boyfriend throughout grad school. It was a long distance relationship. He was in the States, I was in Italy, and then when I was in grad school, he promised me that he wanted to marry me. Like, that was his thing. He brought it up. I didn't say anything about it. I was good just like going with the vibes, and all of a sudden he's like, marriage. And I was like, wait, what is going on? Oh, marriage. Okay, cool. So the plan was I would go down to Florida after I graduated. We would try it out for 6 months, then get married. And then a few months in, he was like, oh, no, we can't get married. Anyway, because of that specific decision, I put on pause a bunch of opportunities I possibly could have had straight out of school, and I ended up derailing my life for like 3 years. But ultimately, the lesson that I should have already learned just by listening to my mother was don't center men. Luckily, I don't have regrets, but I can't say it wasn't a difficult lesson.
This is your daily reminder that decentering men from your life is a daily practice. Decentering male approval, male attention, our internalization of the male gaze, like all of it is a daily practice, and some days are a lot easier than others. Forgive yourself. It's not your fucking fault. It's the water we're swimming in. And decentering men from your life it feels like you're constantly swimming upstream. But this past year I started taking poetry classes taught by Chelsea Diane. I love that woman. And in one of her classes, she told us a sentence which blew my mind. I swear to God, this one sentence helped me unravel years of internalized misogyny. Chelsea said that she has never met a man more powerful than her. Not to say that he doesn't exist, but she has yet to meet him. You have never, ever, ever met a man more powerful than you. Not to say he doesn't exist, but you haven't met him.
The interesting thing about knowing from a young age that you don't want marriage or children is that it automatically decenters men from your life. The three things that men have historically had to offer women, money, marriage, children, are things that I don't want or need. I have my own money, I have my own job, I have my own house, I have my own car, I have my own friends, I have my own hobbies. I filled my life with beautiful things that bring me joy and happiness and contentment. I also don't have a giant imaginary biological clock counting down the seconds to my impending infertility, so I don't have to settle down, with the operative word being settle. You'd think that men would be happy with this, that I don't want or need anything from them, I just like them for them. But what I'm effectively doing is taking away their control over my ability to leave. Money, marriage, children. Some men just don't like that at all. Don't get me wrong, I've had some beautiful relationships with men where the thing that tied us together was the fact that we loved and liked each other. But some men really don't like knowing that you would be absolutely fine without them. And I am. I'm not just surviving without a man, I'm thriving without a man. I don't need a man to provide my happily ever after. I provide it for myself every single day.
I say this with full love for men, but the reality is that men are draining by default. That the default assumption that you need to make for a man in your life is that he is not the source. In fact, he is draining. He is draining by default. He is going to drain your time, your energy, your compassion, and your love. He is going to drain your beauty and your youth and all the resources that you have. Men are draining by default. Even the best men I know are tremendous amounts of labor and tremendous amounts of risk. That just having a man in your life is going to bring you more labor. It's going to be your domestic labor, your emotional labor, your spiritual labor, because as women, we are the source, which means that we are giving by default. Women bring value to men by default, by all that we pour into them naturally, that we give to their well-being, to the beauty, to the joy, to their every single aspect of their experience in life. A woman by default, just your average run-of-the-mill woman, not even trying that hard, maybe not even that invested. By default, the default setting of woman is to bring value. Just you hugging a man, just you paying attention and listening to a man, just you caring for a man, let alone all the things that I'm sure you probably are so thoughtful and so considerate and so generous and so giving and spend so much time coaching him and counseling him and loving him and lifting him up. All these things by default without even trying, we do. Not to mention you're going to be making his health better, his house better. You're going to be introducing him to your friends. You're going to be giving him fun, amazing things to be doing on the holidays. You might be giving him children so he's not alone in his old age. You're going to be amplifying his status in the eyes of his coworkers, his colleagues, other women. He is touch-starved. He is lonely. No one is paying attention to him except you. Because you are doing these things, he has that in his life, and that is so valuable, and men are draining by default. They are going to take your time, your energy, your love. And the way that they counterbalance this is if a man starts pouring back into you by appreciating you as the source. That is how this is balanced, is a man who recognizes that you are the source and pours into you, sees you, loves you, uplifts you, appreciates you. And that is the only way that this value exchange is made right and true and honest, is by him recognizing you as the source, appreciating you for everything that you're doing, and honoring that sacred exchange. And when you are assessing a man in your life, do not close your eyes to this value exchange and really assess reality.
And you know, I always thought it was a strange thing about like making our period time like more censored around men, and it's like it's just blood, and you know, it's a part of my body. I never really understood that. I felt always uncomfortable about that, accommodating my body to what it's supposed to do to accommodate men, I mean. But I appreciated that chat when she I just wanted to show her enjoying her life as she should. And then also to factor in, you might want to, if you like the last video, you might want to look at my video on my other channel talking about how men harvest energy, feminine energy, because in a lot of these conversations you'll keep picking up on the same thing, that it takes a lot of energy and it goes directly to men and their success.
Recently made a video talking about how my life greatly improved after I stopped centering men in it. So after I decentered men in my life, and a lot of people in the comments are asking me for tangible ways that they can start to decenter men in their own lives. So here are a few. Disclaimer, just because I don't center men doesn't mean that I don't have great men in my life that I love and respect the opinions of. I love my boyfriend, yada yada yada, let's go. First thing I started to do when I realized I wanted to decenter men in my life was to make the active switch to consuming media, art, literature, music, podcasts, all of it to be from women and non-binary people. It is hard, but it's not impossible. I think actually, yeah, in the last 18 months, all the books I've read have been by women. All the podcasts I listen to are by women. The majority of music I listen to is by women. The majority of TV shows and film and art that I consume is by women or non-binary people. The majority of like designers and brands that I support and that I shop from are women or non-binary people. My therapist is a woman. My manager and management team are women. I do think that there are men in my life, especially people like my boyfriend, who I love and value the opinion of, that can offer me great advice. But when it comes to like personal issues or conundrums, like I will always turn to the advice of women far and away every single time. When I get dressed every day, when I put something on my body, I ask myself why I'm doing that and who I'm doing that for. And I'm not saying that I have chosen now to dress for women. I am choosing to dress for myself, but I question the decisions that I'm making around my aesthetics. Make sure that they're decisions that are fulfilling me and not decisions that are expected of me by our patriarchal society. This one is also a big one for me, but when I decided to decenter men in my life, I also decided to take up more space, and I decided to not make myself smaller anymore. So in situations when there are a lot of men around, especially men that I don't know, like if I'm walking on the street or if I'm at, you know, somewhere that's crowded with men, a festival perhaps, I do not shrink to make myself smaller. And I do not, if I'm walking towards a man or a group of men, I do not like move out of the way. And because men are dumb, a lot of the times they will actively like run into me, bump into me if I'm walking and I don't move out of the way for them, right? And I just let that happen. Probably didn't see me coming because they're just so used to women moving out of the way for them, right? But 9 times out of 10 they'll apologize and be like, oops, sorry, and they move out of the way. Because number one, as they should, and number two, like, you think I'm gonna move out of the way for you? I'm gonna take up as much space as I humanly can. I'm gonna swing my arms, I'm gonna take bigger steps because fuck you. These are just like small things that you can try and integrate like every day to decenter men from your life. But once you start like actively taking these steps, it's so hard to stop. Decentering men also doesn't mean that you can't have friendships with men and relationships with men. It doesn't mean you can't date men. It doesn't mean that you can't like respect the opinion and insight from like men in your life. It just means that the decisions you're making, you're doing so without men in mind. So centering a female experience above a male experience. And when you start to do that, girlies, honestly, you realize men suck. They suck. And life gets so much better.
This could be us. So back to what I was saying.
I'd like to take a moment to talk to women. And if you are a woman that's listening, I'd like to speak to the most honest and regulated part of you. If we could take the defensive, fearful, avoidant pieces and just set them aside, give them a little puzzle or crossword to futz with while we have a chat. What I'm about to say is going to be hard to hear, but I think we need to have this conversation. We need to have a moment of authentic and meaningful introspection. So many people are wondering what to do right now, and rightfully so. Our brains are pinging between mutual aid efforts and how to make sure people stay connected to abortion rights and how to cope realizing husbands, friends, brothers, community members let us down in such a fundamental way. But regardless of who you voted for and why, there's a conversation that I think needs to be had with women, among women, and with women themselves internally. We need to talk about the fact that so many women love men more than they love themselves. They love men more than they love their children, their daughters, their friends, their community members. And if that sounds like you, hold on. Don't run. Don't scroll. I'm not here to shame you. Something I say all the time is that in the same way folks didn't consent to their privilege, people didn't consent to their oppression. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a responsibility to interrogate and antagonize the ways that we've internalized patriarchy. And what that looks like and means on a very simple and basic level is looking inward and examining the ways in which we privilege and prioritize men and patriarchal value above our well-being and the well-being of other women. We need to get comfortable being uncomfortable with the ways that, for some reason, for whatever reason, the attention of a mediocre, unimpressive man will be higher value to us than the attention of women or queer folk in our community or around us. Why the praise or the validation or the approval hits so different than the approval of femmes and women in our life. I say we because this is work that I have had to do in my journey of decentering men over the course of my life. So many people talk about decentering men as a matching of energy or almost as a get-back scheme, a revenge plot, or use the concept of decentering men as a way to gain access to men in general. If I withdraw my attention, if I match energy, that's some way for me to be able to get him to focus on me, pay attention to me, shine the light of his attention, admiration, or interest back my way. Or as a means to turn the table, to make that man or men in general feel as small, disregarded, and unimportant as they've made you feel. You have to understand that the center of that narrative is still a man. And the supporting actor, the person chasing the flapping coattails of the attention, the validation, the respect, is you. We need to look long and hard at the ways that we have sold out other women, our own dreams and ambitions, our health, our bodies, our safety, our dignity, and our integrity as a result of this social conditioning, and work to do the incredibly challenging and rewarding and enriching repair of reclaiming our narrative through deconstructing those belief systems. I'm a firm believer that the how and why of something is much more important than the what of something most of the time. So it concerns me to hear talk of 4B movement this and smegdual activity strike that without any meaningful internal work around the ways that our lives, thoughts, and even inner worlds center around and focus around a male gaze. That there's an invisible man that was installed in our head since birth that watches and judges our every move, that we also find ourselves constantly seeking approval from. There needs to be a time and a reckoning to sit with the grief and the loss of that, the loss of life, of friendship, of energy, of opportunities. There needs to be honesty in what we have done in service of this narrative, that being an appendage to a man or obtaining the approval of the man, whether it's a boyfriend, a partner, a father, a colleague, is somehow the penultimate achievement or indicator of our worth. And we need to rip that belief system out by the root and plant something else. Plant something that centers us as autonomous human beings with a fully complex and existing first-person narrative outside of what we can glean in terms of the dregs of approval or validation from a patriarch or a patriarchal system. We need to get brave enough to betray the trappings and the false privileges that this system offers. We need to betray desirability and attractiveness, betray values of competition and scarcity between us and other women, and grieve the loss of a sense of self so that we can build a new one. If any of this at all resonates with you, I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not in any way strange, bad, or a failure. But what will make you a failure not only to yourself, but to other women and to the safety of your community is if you refuse to call what you already know into your awareness. If you refuse to take a good hard look at who you are and what you have become as a result of what you have internalized, and make commitments to reclaim yourself, reclaim your narrative, and show up better for yourself and others, then you have chosen self-betrayal. And I will tell you one thing from experience. It is never too late to return to yourself. It is never too late to arrive to yourself. But the longer you wait, the longer you stay in a perpetual cycle of self-betrayal, the more expensive and costly it is.
And I'll just go ahead and be vulnerable here. When I started to decenter men and really step back, I started to notice the patterns that I was doing in relationships, how I was attracting things that I did not want. Where did that come from? I started to notice a pattern in men in general about different things and how they treat women, even men that were close to me, throughout my life. I started to notice little things, and it made me respect myself even more. My confidence shot up. Things that I could walk away from. My skin cleared up well, but you tell me how you feel in the comments about decentering men. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Go to my other channel too. And I'll catch you on the next one.